Hello nieces, hello nephews, it's your Uncle Charles here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel where we do unbiased price action analysis. Sheeps, welcome in to the sheep's den. To my flocks, welcome in. Are you guys enjoying bearish season? In my last couple of videos, I mentioned that we were in bearish seasoning. I'm hungry already. Bearish season. Could get some downside. Why did I say that? Well, we was tracking seasonality. I've mentioned I don't really want to track seasonality anymore, but you know, we had some people ask, man, keep talking about it, keep tracking it. Okay? So since you guys demand it, request it, I gotta come with that fire. I gotta come with that fire because that's my goal, is to serve, man. So if you guys find value in this, I'm gonna, give you guys my interpretation of what's going on with seasonality. Yeah, I mentioned in the last couple of videos, we could enter in bearish seasonality based on the seasonality, and we had to watch out for CPI. CPI did not disappoint. This was Wednesday, September 20th. Holy moly, look at that nice big red candle. It was a very bearish candle that broke down the triangle pattern and broke down my white trend line. I gave you guys the levels based on these triangle patterns and stuff. I don't hide that information with you guys. I give you guys my levels and setup. So hopefully you guys were able to play it well and capitalize on this beautiful move to the downside. All right. If we refer back to seasonality, I got the yellow arrow right here. We are here now. The rest of September and a little bit into October, we seasonality suggesting on average, the average tendency is that we will see more downside, but we may get a dead cat bounce or some type of relief bounce. I don't know if Friday, what you guys would consider that a relief bounce. This was Thursday's action, straight down move, and then Friday we had a little bounce here, but towards the end of the day it just dropped back down. I don't know if you guys count that as a relief bounce, but on average around this time we should get a relief bounce that you would eventually lead to more downside into late September, early October, and we don't find a bottom or some type of bottom until like first week, maybe second week of October. And then from there, we should have a bullish, on average, a bullish fourth quarter. But the Fed's going to have to do something about that inflation stuff, though. They're going to have to take some action and, and give us some type of catalyst for this to happen. As you guys can see, it's not always correct. And a lot of times, sometimes the moves are below average. Okay, sometimes it can be above average, as average. Sometimes it doesn't even happen. That's why I got this red arrow, the beginning of September. I put that did not track. I mean, if you look at the chart, the first week of August tracked where it was last week of August, excuse me. The last week of August tracked where it was supposed to be bullish, and then September was supposed to be bullish in the first half. But as you guys can see, I mean, it went to a low as around 442.7-ish and went as high as 451-ish. That was like a $9 pop. It was a little bit tough to trade, but it was a $9 pop that happened over the course of many days. It's not a really strong move like seasonality suggested. So I just put that it did not track. Some would argue that it did track. It was just a below average move. I'm just going to say it didn't. But as far as the bearish season part, with second half of September being bearish, it's definitely not disappointing, okay? So seasonality aside, we get to the price action, which is the true shepherd here. Looking at this daily chart, see this blue line? Got a couple of tests here. A recent test on Friday that connects to August 18th, which is a Friday, and it connects to July 10th, which is a Monday. Those lows is making this look like, if I change the color, looking like a bull flag. If we just pay attention, I know there's a lot of lines. I apologize. Don't kill me in the comment section, please. But yeah, if you just pay attention to the blue line, looking like a big old bull flag. If we just zoom out a bit, all right. So if it is a bull flag and this is a test of support, right? If it's truly a bull flag and it's a test of support, we should get a bounce, right? But we don't know if that's truly gonna happen. So we have to use the price action to guide us, okay? Now, before I get to the resistance level, I do want to note that we have a critical level at 429.6. I have fib levels from all-time high down to October 2022 low. Now, when we cleared the 61.8 fib level, we cleared it back in June, and it led to a very, very nice pop to the upside, a $30 move to the upside, okay, up to 459-ish. Now, when we zoom out, you know the market doesn't always go straight up. But when we zoom out, it's looking like it wants to backtest that level. It never, when we broke it out, it never quite backtested 429.6 as a support. Could it be that the market makers or the price action is trying to do that? It's getting very close. Last Friday's low was 429.99. So just a few cents shy. Would that count as a backtest? We'll see. Okay? Because a lot of time when we get these breakouts, it's good to see the level that we broke out from get treated as a support. It shows that resistance changed to support, which is a bullish price action, and it confirms that the breakout is legit. Now we're looking at this from a daily chart. So you guys know daily charts, things take a lot more time than it would on a 15, 30 or 1 hour chart. So right now we got a big old back test of a critical support level. We are trying to confirm that the breakout we had back in June is actually legit. That's what the price action is trying to do, or at least that's my interpretation of it. Now, when do I trust a bounce? When it leads to the breakout of resistance levels, previous lost levels, false breakdown setup. And what were those levels? Well, 431 is my resistance level right now, and we lost that. As you guys can see, end of day on Friday, we lost it. 431 was a buy zone back on June 26th, pivot low. And then another pivot low around 433, that was back on August 18th. So 431 and 433 are resistant levels, okay? Above that, I have 435. And then I have I have a fib level at 437, my 78.6 fib level. 437, and then the gap is around 438.6. Okay, above 437, I got 438.6. To recapture this white trend line, SPY would need to get above 440. Okay, 440 based on the white trend line. And then 442 is the 61.8 fib level. 442. And of course, that 444 level, which were the June highs that we broke out of. 444. Above that is the 50% fib level at 445.3. Okay, I got another resistant level at 447, the start of the gap. And then 449, if SPY wants to fill the gap. And based on this blue trend line, the top of this potential bull flag is 450.5-ish with 452 above it. Okay, you guys got my resistant levels, and I explained why they were my resistant levels. I'm not just randomly choosing levels. They're based on pivot lows, pivot highs of buy zones. They're based on fib levels, and they're based on patterns or trend lines. Okay, those are the resistant levels. Now, I already mentioned the 429.6 support level to you guys and why it's so important. It's a fib level based on the higher time frame, and it's also support of the bull flag. If 429.6 fails and it does not hold and it doesn't clear those resistance levels I mentioned, that's extremely bearish. We need to zoom out here. That's extremely bearish. So 429.6 fail, a couple of levels, all right, that I have. Around 428.5, that was a resistant level back in June where SPY based below it before breaking out. And then the support of that chop zone that we had back in June was around 426s, all right? So below 429.6, we can round it to 430 as well. 429.6 to the 430 zone. If that fail, I got 428.5, 426, and then this critical fib level, the 1.236 fib level is at 424.5. All right. It also aligns with my orange trend line. You guys see this orange trend line that started way back in October 2022, connects to March 13th low. Never quite got the third test. And if we do get the third test, it would be at 424.5. Bulls want to hold that level if they want to keep the uptrend from October 2022 low intact. That is my opinion. Because below it would be very bearish. That's a breakdown of a critical trend line and level. It's a fib level as well. Putting lower targets in play. 423, 420.4-ish, 418.2, 417, and so on. We'll talk more about that if it happens, if we get that low. Keep in mind, guys, I'm still on vacation. My next video won't be out until Friday evening or Saturday morning. So make sure you guys get these levels down, okay? I just gave you guys a bunch of resistant levels, gave you guys a bunch of support levels. I'm explaining to you guys when to go short and when to go bullish. Bull case, bear case. We do the sheep style. Bah! So now it's up to you what you guys are going to do with the information, okay? So hopefully I'm able to assist you guys. I won't be making much videos this week because, like I said, I'm on vacay. I got to get my mind right. And then next week I'll be back to making 3 to 5 videos a week, okay? So hopefully you guys just found all this valuable, all right? So from here on, I explained to you guys in this video why and how I pick my levels, okay? I hope you guys found that informative. So from here on, I'm going to cover the other stocks. I'm not going to take my time with them like I do with SPY, explaining why they're my levels. I'm just going to give you my levels. You guys just going to have to trust me on how I choose the levels. The way I choose the levels on QQQ and all those other stocks and ETFs is the same way I choose the levels on the SPY. All right, so just for time's sake, I'm not going to go down in depth why I choose the levels, but those are the levels, all right? So, QQQ, first and foremost, support is at 357, all right? Pivot buy zone. If that level fails, we are dropping down, possibly dropping down to 354.7 to the 355 zone, previous pivot low. And if that fails, we are dropping lower down to 351, and I got 348.5 as a support below. That's another fib level, okay? To be bullish or at least get a relief bounce, resistance must clear, starting with the 78.6 fib level at 360.3. If that clears, 362 is in play. 363.5, 365, 366.7, 368, and possibly up to 371 would be in play. All right, you got my support levels, you guys got my resistant levels. We short the breakouts of we short the breakdowns of support, and we long the breakouts of resistance. Okay, I make mistakes, I stutter sometimes, guys, sorry. Dow Jones, mentioned a lot of time about that 342.5 level. Finally broke it down Thursday and showed some follow through Friday. I cannot get bullish on Dow Jones unless 342.5 recapture. It must recapture to put gap fill around 344-ish in play, with 346.5 and 349 above that. Fib levels, all right? Now, if bears want more downside, 339 must fail. They try to hold on Friday, but let's see if it holds on Monday and Tuesday and stuff. 339 fails, guys. We are dropping lower down to 338, 336, 334.2, and 332.2. Those are my downside targets for Dow Jones. IWM, we had a nice head and shoulder pattern here. Neckline was at 181.6 to the 180 zone. Beautiful breakdown, and now we are around 176.6. It's amazing. I love it when a plan comes together. Now, resistance is at 178 and 179. If those two is a cluster of resistance. If it clears, guess what? 180 and 181.6 are back in play. Above 181.6, I'll be bullish because that will be a recapture of the neckline, putting 180, 183.8 in play, 185, and then 186.7 is above. If bears want more downside, 176.5 must fail to put 175, 173.5, and 171.3 in play. I'm going to say that one more time. If it's bearish action you're looking for, you want to see 176.5 fail to put 175, 173.5, and 171.3 in play. All right, Tesla, back testing a trend line here. Okay, had this little down trend line, Tesla broke it down, okay? I hope you guys made a lot of money. I gave you guys that 263 level and a 253 level. Those were fib levels. And, you know, they broke down and led to nice downsides, okay? But right now it's testing the critical support. For me to trust the bounce, it will need to first clear 247 and 250. Those are the first resistance level. And then that will put 253 in play. 253 is my 78.6 fib level. Gotta recapture 253 if a bottom is to be in. To put 256.5 and 258 in play. If 258 clears, I would favor 263 testing, but 260 and 261.5 in play first. Okay, above 263, I would favor 268 is being tested, and maybe the next breakout of this orange multi-year trend line will be a legit one. All right. As far as bear case scenario, well, the white trend line is around 244. Break down 244, 242, and 240.7. Please add these levels to your charts. If those levels break down, bearish. We are bearish. And that would put 239, 237.6, and 235-ish in play. Possibly even lower than that. Apple. Resistance is at 176 and 178. We lost those levels back on last Wednesday, thanks to CPI. Unless 176 and 178 recaptures, I'm not bullish on Apple. If it does, bullish above 178 with 180.7, 182, and 185 in play. All right. But as of right now, 174 is support. If that level fails, we are dropping lower back to 172 and maybe, just maybe, down to 170. NVDA. Right now, I have resistance at 416 and 418. Look to long only if those levels clear with 421, 423.6, 425, 427, and 429.6 in play. Okay, above 429.6, I would be bull bias. That is the recapture of my 1.382 fib level and a breakout of this downtrend, this blue downtrend. Okay, to be bearish, 414, 412, and 409.2. Those support levels must fail to put 408. 408. Let me check the previous pivot low. 408, and then there's one at 406.6s, 403, 400, and then 398.5. Those are support levels. So bearish downside continues below 414, 412, and especially below 49.2. All right, no longs unless above 418 and 421 to put those higher targets in play. I would be bull bias above 429.6. All right, Microsoft broke down the 1.236 fib level on Friday, which is at 317.6. That level must recapture or gap back above. Clearing 319, 319 and 321.7 would be a good bullish start to put 325 and 327 back in play. Above 327, we could possibly retest the 50 DMA. It was the breakdown of the 50 DMA that started this sell-off. So 50 DMA is around 330.9-ish. It may slope down a little bit, but we'll round it to 330.5 to 331 zone. Okay, above 331, recapture the 50 DMA. That will be bullish, all right? But as of right now, as long as below 317.6, I would stay bear bias on Microsoft at 316 and 316, 314.4, and 311.8 as targets. Okay, Amazon looking extremely bearish. I'm gonna have to change my fib levels right now. So from this pivot low, August 25th pivot low, and we'll bring it up to this pivot high. Let me change the color to this to blue and get the coordinates correct. So this pivot low was 130.58 and this pivot high was 145.86. Okay, now we got new levels. 130.58 is the first resistance level. If that level clears, 132.7, 133.82, 135, and 136.4 would be in play. As long as below 130.5, overall bearish. We got to watch for the breakdown of the next support, which is at 128.5. If that level fails, 127, 124.7, and 123 are all in play. Google Can't get bullish again on it unless it recaptures the 132.8 resistant level. If it does, 134.8, 136.4, and 138 are back in play. As long as below 132.8, I would stay bearish. Watch for the breakdown of next support, which is at, well, there's one at 131, 129.5. If those levels fail, 128, 126.6, and 124.3-ish are all in play. Netflix looking extremely bearish. Broke down that triangle pattern that I had. I think I talked to you guys about this pattern. But yeah, it filled the gap that we had back in Friday, May 26th. Okay, so let's see if it bounces. I do have resistance at 383 and the critical one based on the triangle pattern at 389. Those levels must clear to be bullish. Well, above 383 would be a bullish warning, but above 389 would be very bullish because it's a false breakdown setup based on the triangle pattern, putting higher levels in play. 392, 395, 398, possibly 401.6 would be targets, okay? But if 379.4 fail, we're heading down lower, down to 376, 372, and possibly 368, guys. All right? Meta. Getting some choppy action a little bit. 297.5, 295, and 293.5 are support. If those levels fail, 290, 288.6, and 285.6 would be targets. All right? To be bullish, it needs to get back above 300, 302, especially 306, and of course 309. All right? Clearing those levels, we'll put high targets in play. 312, 315, 318, possibly up to 321. AMD testing that 96 level. All right, trying to break it down. It's based on a little bit below it. If it's going to bounce, I will only trust it if 97.5 and 99.5 recapture, especially above 99.5. That would be a hell of a false breakdown setup. It would look like a liquidity grab, if anything, based on this double bottom here, back from August 25th low and September 18th low. If that, so 99.5 got to recapture to be bullish to put 103, 105, and 107 plus back in play. If 96 fails, we're going down lower, guys. 93.5, possibly down to 89 would be targets, okay? Now, because I'm not making the video that often this week because I'm on vacation, I want to give you guys 1 week of worth of data based on the dark pool for SPY from September 18th to September 22nd. The most activity we got last week was at the 430.38 level. Let me scroll down here. Yeah, 430.38 level, 4.7 billion in premium. So we know there's a lot of liquidity at that level. And then 431.37 last week. We know it was at, it shows 3.6 billion in premium at that level. So these are pivot levels that you guys can watch out for because you know there's liquidity there based on the dark pool orders. And if we recapture and clear, it would, fairly be bullish, I would assume, based on price action concepts. But based on last week, that's what it shows. And of course, the higher level was 438.55 with 3.6 billion and 438.56 at 1.5 billion. Just round it to 438.5. Keep it simple. And 442.7, 1.7 billion. 443.3, 1.6 billion. All right. I think that's it. That's the most activity for those levels. So add those levels on your charts as dark pool levels. And, use price action concepts to trade them. As far as option flow for SPY, filter for 500K premiums or above. So last week it was bearish. Heading into this week is bearish. QQQ, very bearish heading into this week. IWM, very bearish. Dow Jones, nothing. Tesla is fairly bullish, 68%. Bearish for NVDA, 82%. Bearish. Block orders from Microsoft. Amazon is fairly bullish. Sweep orders too. Google. Nothing for Google. The L. Nope. Netflix. Nothing for Netflix. What? Meta. Okay. It's a split order. Not very bullish. It's bullish 100%, but not many contracts. And AMD. Nothing for AMD. Alright. Thank you guys so much for watching. My next video will be out Friday evening or Saturday morning. Discord members and Substack members, you guys don't gotta worry. You will continue to get content from me. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great evening, great day. Good luck this week, and I'll talk to you guys very soon. Peace.